Hello and welcome to this episode of G-Talk, brought to you by GLP. GLP is a leading global business builder, owner, developer and operator of logistics real estate, data centers, renewable energy and related technologies. GLP owns and operates assets and businesses in 17 countries across Asia, Europe and the Americas. GLP Capital Partners is a global alternative asset manager with approximately $125 billion in assets under management as of the 31st of March this year, 2023. And it's also the exclusive investment and asset manager of GLP. The GLP European operating portfolio consists of more than 9.1 million square meters across the strategic logistics markets, which is leased to blue-chip customers such as Amazon, DHL and GXO Logistics. To learn more about GLP's European operations, please go to eu.glp.com. One of the countries in which GLP is operating is Italy, and today I'm joined by four of the Italian team: Marco Belli, GLP's Country Director.
Buongiorno.
Hi Marco. Saverio Ungania, Investments Director.
Hello.
Alberto Carampin, who is the Construction Director.
Hello.
And Luca Barreca, who is the Senior Asset Manager for GLP's Italian team.
Hello.
Hi. So Marco, if I could start with you. Firstly, tell us a bit about yourself.
Joined GLP in September 2019, and before this I've worked in Amazon for 6 years with the responsibility for South European real estate. Goodman before for 6 years as Technical Director, and previously 13 years as Technical Director for McDonald's in Italy. My study is, I'm a geometer, which is a kind of quantity surveyor.
Thank you, Marco. Now, same question to you, Saverio. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I joined GLP in 2020, July 2020. Before that, I worked for Citibank in investment banking and Celtic Asset Management for a private equity, real estate, and before that, KPMG. And I'm a major in finance.
Thank you. Alberto, how about you?
Thank you. I have been working for the last 4 years in GLP. And before I worked a couple of years for another pan-European logistic developer called VGP. As I started my career in AECOM, which is a technical consulting company where I worked seven years. I have a technical background. I'm a civil engineer and I graduated in Padua.
And Luca, finally to you.
I joined GLP in June 2023 as Senior Asset Manager. Before that, I worked in Cromwell Property Group as Asset Manager and the Capital as Fund Manager. I studied civil engineering, then I took part in 2 master's degrees in real estate and financial management. I have both economical and technical background. This is my strength.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, Marco, perhaps we could start with you and you can give me an overview of the Italian logistics market.
Yes, from a GLP perspective, it is a strong market. The take-up-in logistic market in Italy remained stable in the last 9 months of 2023 and compared to the same period of the previous year. And the expectation from now to the year end is optimistic. At GLP, we are delivering with end of 2023 about 250,000 square meters of new assets, which are under construction. And almost all of them are pre-let to primary customers in industrial and retail business. The leasing market trend in 2023, according to the estimation of the research office, is in line with that of 2022, which was a record year. Due to the economic macro context still complicated by financial issues related to the conflict in Ukraine and now with the Israeli effects, most of the investors are adopting a wait-and-see approach. The rental segment has not declined, and the take-up rate appears to be in line with the last years. Around 750,000 square meters have been leased in the third quarter. So we can estimate to reach around 2.7 million square meters leased in 2023, which is another record year. Rents are on the rise and stand around €65 for square meter in prime location. The figures confirm GLP strategy at the moment, which is developing several assets, all in prime location: Valsamoggia, Bologna area, Anagni and Colleferro Roma area, Cameri Greater Milano, and Filago Greater Milano. So for a total of about 300,000 square meter, with values in line with what the advisor indicated. But as far as site is concerned, while in past the request was for mostly large area assets, 50,000 square meter and more in general, today medium-sized assets are preferred, between 15 and 30,000 square meters. Total volumes remain unchanged, but the contract concern a higher number of smaller buildings. However, occasionally we have requests for assets up to 70,000 square meters, above all for food retailers, as most of them are totally reorganizing the logistic infrastructure after the pandemic. UPN and retailers are the categories that have most enlivened the take-up market. In fact, e-commerce continues to drive demand on logistic pace. This trend accelerated in all European countries during the pandemic, which then saw a slowdown. In Italy, however, the trend continued to grow at an accelerated rate compared to the rest of Europe. Adding to the scenario is the demand from the large-scale retail sector, which remained constant as it reorganized its distribution chain.
Well, thank you, Marco. Coming to you, Saverio, take us through Italian logistics from an investment perspective.
Yeah, thank you. So on the investment side, we can say that there was an evidence of a slowdown in operations compared to last year, to 2022. In this quarter, Q3 2023, approximately 443 million euros were invested, and in the previous quarter, approximately 250 million. So there is, let's say, evidence of a slowdown with respect to last year. We can read two factors into this figure. First, the insecurity of the European market as a whole, where institutional investors maintain a wait-and-see strategy, and the rising cost of money, which slow down short-term investors. In the last quarter, so Q3 2023 and Q4 2023, we are seeing a little recovery of the investment market as yields are stabilizing and investment appetite is rising again and appears to remain quite strong. The second element also represents a competitive opportunity for us. There has been a selection of investors who are only 1/6 of what they used to be in the previous years and in the market today. The strategy of investors on prime product has slightly changed, as they are no longer looking for core assets, core property with very long contracts, but they are now, and also GLP, I would say, looking for the possibility of very fast rent reversion. Ultimately, Italy, for us, and let's say after these figures that we had the last quarter and the research we have done with GLP, we think that Italy remains attractive in the eyes of both national and international investors, and some, let's say, compelling deals are expected to close this year, as I said, with a slightly different profile than before. So more value add, more focused on reversion and rent reversion than long-term core dry product in this second half of the year. We are also seeing new investors entering the logistics market with a change of strategy with respect to the last year.
Why is that, do you think?
Italian market is now catching up with other big markets in Europe, mostly because, or not mostly, but one of the most interesting thing is because of e-commerce. So after COVID, we're seeing Italians start to be more active in e-commerce, and e-commerce keeping up the demand that has increased since then. We can say that in Italy, approximately 80% of the population now are internet users, which is one of the lowest figure in Europe, but is expected to grow at a substantial pace. More than a half of these internet using Italians, so around 60%, are now online shoppers, then boosting demand for logistics. Over 50% of Italians has purchased something online at least once in 3 months. In 3 months' time, according to the Europe e-commerce report 2022, thus confirming that the e-commerce demand is still growing. As a last point, we can say that around 2% of GDP now is spent by Italians on online consumer goods, compared to a global average of 3.5%. So there is still at least 1% GDP to be catched by the demand. As a final comment, we can say that the GLP strategy in Italy is to continue to consolidate the portfolio, to regenerate the portfolio, so decrease the age of the assets while increasing the GLA. And we can say that with the developments we are starting now, we are aiming to increase the portfolio of about 300,000 square meters. So new acquisitions and new developments, we think will increase the GLA of the portfolio whilst consolidate in also an ESG perspective and decreasing the average age of the assets.
Okay, thank you. With the new developments, how has construction been going? Elsewhere, we've seen a big spike in construction costs. Has that been the same in Italy?
Yeah, for sure. We have seen construction costs rose quite quickly in the last 2 or 3 years. This is due mainly to the shock to the supply chain caused by the pandemic, caused by COVID. And it is due also to a high demand, both from private and public sector. In fact, in Italy, the government and the state put in place several public subsidies in order to boost construction activities. The situation hit the whole construction market, and so all developers and investors have been impacted. We see nowadays that the pricing are stabilized, and so we are quite optimistic for the future.
And how have you coped with all of this?
We believe that the best approach in order to cope with the situation is selecting capable and reliable general contractors and partners. Of course, it is not always possible to decrease construction costs due to the macroeconomic environment we have to face. Nevertheless, we have tried to put in place some value engineering together with our consultants and JC in order to decrease construction costs, always respecting the high ESG features and the high technical and technological contents of our premises.
Well, coming back to you, Marco, what are the main areas of focus for GLP in Italy?
The main markets remain Milan and Rome, with a special focus on Milano, and where the main requirement in this area are from 3PL and end users in fashion business, automotive, supermarket chain, and electronics. The Milan industry is connected to the Eastern Front and France, Spain, plus north through Germany, and these are our main area of interest. And also Rome, which is one of the most populous cities in Europe, within city limit of about 2.8 million residents, and has almost 4.5 million in the wider metropolitan area.
And what is the GLP presence in those markets?
In this moment, we have a growing presence, started from 0 assets 4 years ago. Now we are in between the number 5 top player as logistic provider in Italy, thanks to the work that we have concentrated in the last 2.5 years. We have at the moment a staff of 9 people based in Milano, 25 assets under management, and 600,000 square meters of assets under management. Also, we have in parallel, as anticipated by Alberto, 300,000 square meters in development. Last part of this year, we have a lot of happening, development completing, almost 4 assets, and new acquisition also. We are more active in the market than our competitors in this moment.
Okay, well, tell us about the current development projects. Alberto.
As mentioned before by Marco, we have approximately 300,000 square meters development pipeline. We have just successfully handed over to a large food retailer a big warehouse of 75,000 square meters in Cameri, Novara, so within the Milan market. And we have also as well successfully completed a 24,000 square meters GLA warehouse in Colleferro, south of Rome. Together with these two projects, it is worth to mention also our Valsamoggia development, which will be completed in 2024, and it will be approximately 100,000 square meters. Together with Filago, 50,000 square meters in Bergamo, Greater Milan area, and 2 additional warehouses in Anagni for a total GLA of approximately 60,000 square meters. I'm pleased also to share with you that together with the development pipeline, we are actively working also to refurbish our portfolio, and we will work soon for a heavy refurbishment in Santa Palomba, one of our assets in Rome area. And we successfully handed over to 3 different tenants a building in Roncello, which consists of approximately 50,000 square meters GLA.
Okay, well, tell me about the spec. I know that GLP's special sauce is the quality of its developments. How does the new build compare with the existing stock?
I would say that the new buildings are completely different from the existing and standard Italian stocks. In GLP, we always develop grade A logistic buildings, and we focus not only on the master planning with a special attention on operation and logistic activities, but above all on technical specification. We do our best to develop and design future-proof buildings, always trying to raise the bar, building warehouses with higher standard in order to provide our customer modern buildings. We perform several initiatives, and we constantly try new technologies. For instance, we invest to increase thermal insulation of roofing and facade cladding. We try to increase the load capacity of the floor. As a matter of example, in Anagni, we have also installed sinusoidal joints in the warehouse industrial floor, and we always provide smart metering to monitor and control utilities.
And how relevant is decarbonisation and energy transition to your customers?
ESG features are essential for our investors and also for our clients. We always have a special focus for ESG and for decarbonization above all. All our premises or our new buildings are BREEAM Excellent certified with a new construction protocol, which is one of the highest sustainability certification achievable. We always perform life cycles assessment to define embodied and operational carbon in order to find mitigation measures aiming at reducing the impact on the environment. I'm pleased to say that Anagni 3, our second development in Anagni, will be our first net zero carbon development in Italy. So together with the life cycle assessment, we will put in place also an offsetting program. In terms of energy transition, we develop future-proof buildings. We invest in photovoltaic systems and also in electric mobility, allowing our customer to charge electrical vehicles and cars.
Tell me about the volleyball tournament as well.
We are always focused on local communities, and when we can, we liaise with the local administration and we organize some charity initiatives. For instance, in Colleferro, after the realization of our warehouse, we have organized a volleyball tournament with an association which supports people with Down syndrome. We are doing similar initiatives also in Anagni and Cameri. In Anagni, we have offered a new kitchen furniture to a non-profit association, allowing to prolong in the afternoon the availability of the center. And in Cameri, we will refurbish and we will redo the garden of another non-profit organization, always involved to support local communities. Together with this support to the local communities, we are also focused on environment. And it is worth to mention some of our activities related to biodiversity and environmental mitigation measures, which are very appreciated by the administration. For instance, in Cameri, we have planted more than 80,000 square meters of land with more than 1,000 hazelnut trees. And in Valsamoggia, we work closely with the administration, and we decided to install a green roof in a part of our warehouse with several benefits for the PV systems and the comfort of our customer. And as well, we are going to plant more than 400 trees.
Excellent. We're coming to you now, Luca. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about GLP's asset management strategy.
Yeah, of course. As the colleagues have said, we have a lot of pressure and opportunities on assets in Italy. Our strategy is to improve the quality of our assets and so the rents from our tenants. We have the possibility to improve the yields and returns, also in an unfavorable market situation. I would like to explain better. The increase in construction costs and the interest rates during a period of general market expansion has reduced new construction and so the competition, the available stocks, thus allowing a significant increase in rents according to the simple rule of supply and demand. Indeed, the take-up is high, as mentioned before by Marco, despite the rents are increasing more than indexation. In Italy, the strong growth of rents allows to contain, I would say, much more than in other countries, the reduction of values, mainly due to the worsening of capitalization rates. Overall, no loss of value in Italy, with the space market, let's say, is balancing the losses of the investment market.
Okay, and can your tenants support these rent increases?
For end users, this has a little impact on their balance sheets. Generally, the rent has an impact of less than 10%, most times less than 5%. In recent years, end users are also increasing revenues, so the impact of rent increase has not changed much. For the 3PL, it's a lower process because their clients want to pay as little as possible, clashing with what are the market rent requests. The vacancy is very low, and therefore also the 3PLs will get used to new rents increase when they will not find alternative solution. The logistics chain cannot be broken. Not to mention that the new buildings or those development allow to have a significant saving on energy cost and an efficiency of business activities, improving revenues. ESG improvements are now important for everyone, not only for investors. Thanks to buildings in line with the last ESG rules, tenants can benefit from energy savings, get green financing at better rates, but also, for example, work in efficient and performing spaces, which allow them to work better. Working better and in a different context, increase business productivity and so revenues. Returning to your first question, active asset management is very important and strategic, with a complete vision to get opportunities and perform, creating or in any case, increasing value for all stakeholders.
Thank you. And how does, Saverio, how does this sustainability and the ESG features play with the investors?
Yeah, so GLP as one of other investors also has funds dedicated for sustainable development, which let's say, we think makes us a little bit different than our competitors. Recently, in the last years, we are seeing that both investors and tenants are considering and will consider even more ESG to be very important and pivotal for their future plans. And they are showing to have an appetite for future-proof and sustainable projects. Customers, tenants, above all, are putting a lot of pressures on developers and investors on available and future prime logistics to develop ESG real estate, which in turn pushes GLP and developers to continue to add value to new and old stock, improving and investing in really high, let's say, the highest ESG standards we can meet.
Okay. Marco, what's next?
Well, look for opportunities, ambition to grow in strategic market through acquisition and land banking, with the target to achieve 1 million square meter assets under management. Exploring possibility in southern Italy, which can become a future potential market. Focus on increasing relation with our customer and invest in ESG. Improvement in existing assets through the support of other business line of GLP, like clean energy, which is focused on implementation of solar panels in all of our assets.
Well, thank you. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Italian logistics market. My thanks to all the guests, Marco Belli.
Thanks, Paul, and goodbye.
Saverio Ungania.
Thank you very much.
Alberto Carampin.
Thank you.
And Luca Barreca.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, have a listen to our other podcasts in this series. My name is Paul Shearer. Have a lovely day. Thanks for listening to this episode of G-Talk. You can find other episodes in this series in all the usual podcast places. Be sure to subscribe. You can also find out more on GLP Europe's website, eu.glp.com.